Culture, Sports and Tourism Chief expresses optimism for Lunar New Year tourism market. Israel attack kills dozens in Gaza despite ceasefire. And Donald Trump hints at deal to avoid military action in Iran. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Rosanna Law says she is optimistic about a year-on-year uptick in visitor arrivals during the Lunar New Year holiday. Speaking with TVB News, Law also reveals that the government is considering appointing external agents to coordinate commercial activities at some leisure and cultural services department venues. With about 2 weeks to go before the Lunar New Year holidays, Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Rosanna Law spoke with TVB News, noting that festive celebrations this year, including fireworks displays, are poised to be larger in scale. She says the old Yamate police station will also extend its opening hours during the festive period. Law says this year's Lunar New Year is further apart from Christmas, which could buoy repeat travel. She adds that the mainland's Golden Week holiday will last 8 to 9 days, potentially benefiting Hong Kong. She says geopolitical factors and travel advisories that have affected other destinations such as Japan may help divert more visitors to Hong Kong. As for the traditional Lunar New Year Cup football match, Law says details are expected to be unveiled as early as Monday.
Asked
whether preparations are too rushed, she says the Hong Kong Football Association is working hard on arrangements, stressing that the annual New Year match is a cherished tradition meant to bring festive joy to the public. Looking ahead, Law says many major events still have room to expand, and she expects total visitor arrivals this year to exceed 50 million, surpassing last year's tally. While she does not commit to whether growth would exceed last year's roughly 12% increase, she stresses that enhancing reception capacity is key. On the government's plan to open up 24 LCSD venues for commercial use, Law says the response to the recently issued expression of interest has been encouraging, with double-digit submissions received. Some proposals involve outdoor spaces such as areas outside the Hong Kong Cultural Center, while venues overlooking Victoria Harbour, including museums in Tsim Sha Tsui, have attracted particular interest. Law says the government is considering hiring an intermediary agent to handle overall coordination and management. She also reveals that the application process for cinemas to host non-film events has been streamlined, with approval times reduced from over 40 days to around 18 days in a bid to help the industry stay afloat. The government has decided to remove legal provisions on the seatbelt mandate targeting public bus passengers. Secretary for Security Chris Tang says while the police would not enforce the seatbelt law for now, the force would handle acts of damaging seatbelts on buses seriously. The new legal provisions mandating bus passengers to wear seatbelts will be removed less than a week after coming into force, after the government cited shortcomings in the law. Secretary for Security Chris Tang reiterates the police would not enforce the law through the period before the provisions are taken off. The security chief, however, says the city saw at least 2 suspected cases of deliberately damaged seatbelts over the past week, which he says will be dealt with seriously. Speaking on a radio program, Tang stresses acts such as cutting up seatbelts are criminal offenses and have serious impacts on society as they challenge the system and are antisocial behaviors. He says wearing seatbelts could help save lives and calls on the public to continue wearing them, and the government will improve the legislation after collecting public opinion. Tang also flags the surge of a new type of crash-for-cash fraud in Hong Kong. In the new playbook, fraudsters pretend they were injured in alleged vehicle accidents and extort money from victims. He notes that more than 70 related cases are under investigations. Describing the tactics, Tang says these scammers would drive around with dash cams on to capture other motorists crossing the double white lines. They would then report the case to the police. After that, the fraudsters monitor the cases patiently. Once the drivers paid a traffic fine, they stepped forward claiming they were the vehicle behind and were forced to brake suddenly because of the cut-in. They then alleged they suffered whiplash-type neck injuries and psychological trauma, demanding thousands of dollars in compensation. In one case, a claimant alleged 20 separate neck injuries, which is highly implausible, as normally people won't be that unlucky, Tang says. Israel has pounded Gaza with some of its most intense airstrikes since the October ceasefire, killing more than 30 people, including 3 girls from one family. Israeli military said it was responding to a breach of the ceasefire the previous day when they identified 8 gunmen emerging from a tunnel in Rafah, an area controlled by Israeli forces. Tracy Furness reports.
Rubble and debris in the streets of Gaza City, the aftermath of an Israeli attack Saturday which hospitals say killed at least 30 Palestinians, one of the highest tolls since the October agreement aimed at stopping the fighting. The strikes hit locations in northern and southern Gaza, including an apartment building in Gaza City, and this tent city in Khan Yunis. This man is a relative of some of the victims killed. Samir al-Atbash said, "I was shocked when they called to tell me that my nieces, my aunt and my cousin had all been killed. We were stunned by the news this morning. How and why, we don't know. We are civilians. We have no connection to Hamas or Fatah." Israeli military said it was targeting commanders, weapon caches and manufacturing sites belonging to Palestinian militant group Hamas and its ally Islamic Jihad. Hamas, which retains control of just under half of Gaza, where nearly all its more than 2 million residents live, mainly in makeshift tents and damaged buildings, said Israel had violated the truce. It did not say whether any of its members or sites were struck in Saturday's attacks. On Sunday, Israel is due to reopen the Rafah border crossing between the Gaza Strip and Egypt, under President Trump's plan to end the war. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Welcome back. Massive rallies against immigration crackdown are ramping up across the United States, from Minnesota to California. U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the Department of Homeland Security not to step into demonstrations held in Democrat-run cities unless local authorities ask for federal assistance. A federal judge in Minnesota has also denied immediate emergency relief of Trump's immigration agent search in the state, allowing the clampdown to continue. Danny Zhou has the report.
Protesters riding bicycles and carrying signs were seen marching against officers of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, in the city of Minneapolis on Saturday. The protests were organized in memory of Renee Good and Alex Pressey, both fatally shot by federal officers in January. Also on Saturday, Donald Trump issued new directives on the unrest and instructed Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to not intervene in protests occurring in cities led by Democrats unless help is formally sought.
Honestly, the crime-ridden cities are all Democrat-run cities. And if they want help, they have to ask for it. Because if we go in, all they do is complain. But if they want help, they can ask for it, and they're going to need help.
The president gave no further details on how the order would affect the immigration operations and put the onus on state and municipal officials to help protect federal government property, adding he had directed ICE and Border Patrol to be very forceful in the protection. U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez has denied Minnesota's request for an emergency order to immediately halt the major crackdown operation Metro Surge in the state. The operation, initiated in December last year, was described by authorities as the largest immigration enforcement operation ever carried out and involved 3,000 federal agents currently deployed to the Twin Cities region. The judge said in a ruling that evidence showed federal immigration agents engaged in racial profiling and excessive use of force, but noted halting the entire operation would go beyond the existing legal precedent and seriously undermine the federal government. Attorney General Pam Bondi hailed the decision as a legal victory. Meanwhile, as part of the no work, no school, no shopping strikes that swept across the country, thousands gathered in front of the City Hall in Los Angeles, California on Friday and marched to the federal detention center to oppose Trump's immigration policies. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Separatists from Pakistan's Balochistan province claimed responsibility for nearly a dozen coordinated attacks across southern Pakistan on Saturday that targeted civilians, a high-security prison, police stations and paramilitary installations. 18 civilians, 15 security personnel and 92 insurgents were killed, authorities said. Nasri Karim with more.
Life returning to a semblance of normality in Quetta, Pakistan. The shell of a burnt-out car reminded that just one day before, this was a scene of carnage after an attack by the separatist Balochistan Liberation Army. The province's chief minister, Safaz Bugti, vowed to avenge every drop of blood. Authorities said more than 130 militants have been killed across Balochistan over the past 48 hours, reportedly the deadliest single day for separatists in decades. At least 700 have been reportedly killed this year. The outlawed BLA claimed responsibility for the attacks, during which some banks were robbed and a police station and dozens of vehicles torched. The BLA released videos showing female fighters taking part in the attacks, apparently part of an effort to highlight the role of women in their cause. Baloch separatist groups and the Pakistan Taliban, or TTP, have intensified attacks in Pakistan in recent months. The TTP is a separate group but allied with Afghanistan's Taliban, which returned to power in August 2021. Pakistan says the attacks were backed by India, an accusation New Delhi denies. Nazri Karim, TVB News.
Uruguayan President Yamandu Orsi arrived in Beijing early Sunday to start a 7-day state visit to China at the invitation of President Xi Jinping. Orsi was welcomed by Minister of Agriculture and Rural Affairs Han Jun at the airport. During the visit, Xi and Orsi are expected to exchange views on deepening the China-Uruguay Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, Belt and Road cooperation, and international issues of mutual interest. More than 60 business leaders accompany the South American country's president, representing a wide range of sectors from food security to technology and logistics. China has been Uruguay's main trading partner for more than 14 consecutive years, according to the Uruguay-China Chamber of Commerce. Tickets for popular train routes have already been sold out for the upcoming Lunar New Year holidays in the mainland. To meet the demand, the mainland railway sector will operate close to 1,000 nighttime high-speed rail services. With the 9-day-long Lunar New Year holiday starting on the 15th of this month, tickets for highly popular train routes such as Guangzhou, Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen have already been sold out as early as 9 a.m. Sources indicated that more than 51 million tickets have been sold since Lunar New Year period tickets became available on the 19th of last month. Financial Secretary Paul Chan signaled a boost in local retail sales, but noted the government should remain careful in public spending despite its improving financial situation. Chan said that retail sales in December will continue to grow. This as authorities recorded a surplus of $43.9 billion for the first 9 months of the fiscal year, with the FS crediting the salaries and profits taxes as the main sources of revenue. He added that the government will expand its investments in infrastructure and development of the North Metropolis via the issuance of bonds. A spurred tortoise was found trapped near North Point Ferry Pier and later confirmed dead after being rescued by firefighters. The case has been classified as animal cruelty. The tortoise measured about 30 centimeters in length. Firefighters wearing life jackets climbed onto the pier to examine the animal and document the scene. Police received a report about the case at around 4 p.m. Firefighters and officers from the Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department arrived at the scene. The species is a desert-dwelling herbivorous land tortoise and cannot survive in water. Large numbers of participating stalls at this year's pet show at the Convention and Exhibition Center offered special discounts, hoping to attract more shoppers on the last day of the event. Timothy Lee has more.
Dogs and their owners both salivating at the sight of this sausage, the former for its aroma and the latter for the discounted price tag. Visitors poured into the exhibition halls of the Convention and Exhibition Center, hoping to secure the best deal on the last day of this year's pet show. One highlight this year being tech for pets.
This is our automatic cat litter box, and the difference is this is the largest size in the world. In Hong Kong, a lot of people, they like traveling, so if they are not at home all the time, the machine can help them to take care of their cats. So like if they are away for 3 to 4 weeks time, it's all right.
The function of our product is to provide general health care to your pet, and it kind of increases their energy level inside of them, and it promote self-healing functions. And our business expectation is to bring awareness to pet owners, to kind of make them realize that healthcare is quite essential at an early stage of your pet's lifespan.
Meanwhile, several visitors shared their experience at the event, with many finding the prices of goods here satisfactory.
I think they are cheaper on average than what I see at least in pet store in general.
We were looking for like trainers, so we found that, and we bought like a new stroller here, and then we also bought cushions, so there's a lot of different stuff.
It's kind of reasonable. I think for the treats and stuff, it's kind of a reasonable price that we've found so far. So yeah, pretty happy with them.
In a bid to facilitate further interest among residents and their pets, the Hong Kong Palace Museum has organized a special ancient Egypt exhibition featuring feline statues and mummies dating back to the 7th century BC. Organizers said, like their modern counterparts, ancient Egyptians shared the same love for cats and hopes the exhibition could draw a pet-related connection between the two societies. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
And that's the news. Stay warm and thank you for watching.